woken up feeling like pretty ordinary. Anyway, I'm going to have a cup of coffee and do a take two.
A cup of coffee that I made.
That Indley made for me. Anyway, after I got rid of that rant, I thought I'd better come on here and be logical about it, because I just woke up feeling quite annoyed about the whole thing, actually. So here we go. Yesterday I went to Joondalup Hospital, and because my grandson was sick. When I got there, immediately a nurse came into the cubicle, and her perfume was so strong. It was an opium-based perfume that I felt obliged to ask her what type of perfume she had on, that it was actually causing breathing difficulties for me. It was giving me a bit of asthma. She said, "Oh, do you want a puffer?" Well, no, I don't want a puffer, because that's probably just more chemicals that I'm putting into my body. And I wouldn't do that. So she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said to her, "I'm really sorry, but I've researched perfumes, and the one that you're wearing is a bad one. And it's probably not a good idea to wear that to work where there's sick people, especially babies, because it's causing breathing difficulties in me. And with all the cancer-causing agents that would probably be in that bottle of perfume, it's probably a good idea that you don't wear it either." She just looked at me blankly, and she said, "Oh, okay, well, I won't come too close to you." Well, she was already close enough for it to be a problem. And I just feel that nurses shouldn't have a need to be wearing perfume to work at all, Perfumes are a trigger for people with health conditions, and that's well known. So they shouldn't be wearing that, especially around babies in a pediatric ward where they can't actually speak for themselves and say, "Hey, your perfume, I can't breathe," So I might be a little bit different to the norm, and be intolerant to these things, yet other people aren't. But the truth is that the chemicals in perfumes are toxic, and the chemicals in perfumes are exactly the same as perfumes in cigarettes. Now, if you're not allowed to smoke around a baby, why are you allowed to wear perfume around a baby? That was number one. Number two, I had a run-in with a doctor, some young doctor, half my age, who I said to her, "We have an autoimmune disease in our family, which was caused by living next to a contaminated site, and it made my family sick. Now, we're not the only ones that this has happened to. In fact, in the newspaper on Sunday, on the Sunday Times, there was an article about the guys from the Kimberley, where it said that they're just waiting for us to die. And there were people there that were sprayed using the Agent Orange, and they ended up with the same health condition that I have, that they all got sick with multiple chemical sensitivity, and now they can't get any help, and they've been waiting many, many years for compensation. Like me, I lived in an area where it was contaminated. It made a lot of people sick in the area. None of us were compensated. There's another area called Alcoa here in Western Australia, where that industry also made a lot of people sick. They also ended up with multiple chemical sensitivity, and they were never compensated. So this is quite a common thing in Perth, Western Australia, where they have areas in this place, this wonderful place that's apparently the best place to live in the world, if you want to get poisoned, here, that affects a lot of people. So the statistics for this health condition, multiple chemical sensitivity, that I looked up was 4% in Adelaide, but between 15 and 23% worldwide, according to studies. That was about 10 years ago, those statistics. So for something that on average 15% worldwide 10 years ago affects the population, 15%, you would think that the doctors would know about that, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? 15% of the population? That's a lot of people that have this condition. She said, what is the autoimmune condition? And I said, multiple chemical sensitivity. And she said, what? I don't know anything about that. So not only was I assaulted with perfumes, and you would think that, you know, WorkSafe would, you know, make it a regulation where nurses don't wear perfume. I was insulted by not understanding a medical condition that becomes genetic in the family apparently after you have it. So that 15% of the population 10 years ago, if they've had children by now, that would mean if it's genetic, their kids would have it if it runs in the family, wouldn't it? Which means statistics are going to increase. Of which there is apparently no cure, and the only cure is avoidance of allergens. So that means that all these people that are allergic to chemicals have to go and live in the middle of nowhere. So the middle of nowhere isn't going to be non-existent anymore because the population is going to be living in the middle of nowhere because there's no cure and no research and no knowledge from doctors. Can you see my quandary? So I would appreciate some research because we suffer from a health condition that's quiet and non-existent, if you like, when they're teaching doctors. It's non-existent with nurses who just come in stinking of perfume. I don't think anybody heard that. Do you want me to say the word? Anyway, so that's my beef for the day. The doctor that was actually caring for my grandson also didn't know how to put a cannula in properly, and the nurse had to stand over him and say, oh, this is how you tape it in and this is what you do and then you have to clean it and blah, 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 blah. I was pretty disgusted that that doctor didn't know how to do it. And when I questioned the nurse about that and said, is that doctor a student? She said, oh, no, he's a resident. Right. And I said, well, you seem to know more about how to put that in than what he did. And she said, oh, yeah, because the doctor had on his mind that he was more worried about the blood and that not coagulating or making it, getting into the vial so it didn't go off, than taping up the cannula so it didn't fall out of his arm. In the meantime, we're holding him down. He's screaming. They could have probably got an extra person in to help, hey? So, apparently if you're a doctor in Joondalup Hospital, you don't have to know how to put a cannula in and tape it up and clean it when blood's spurting out everywhere. Every time we go there to Joondalup, or my daughter, she has an extremely bad experience, and that's not a word of a lie. From the delivery of her son, the way they told her that the delivery wasn't, you know, advancing and they decided to suction cup him out, to the way that they've treated every time she's gone there. The fact that we actually drive into the children's hospital usually, but this time we didn't. However, at the end, there was a really nice doctor who came in to take off or to assess. Actually, we were in there for 6 hours. Let's get this right. 6 or 7 hours. We sat there while they did blood tests. Apparently the blood tests took ages to come out. But what annoyed me is that 2 doctors came in, stripped him right down, checked him all out, pressed on the spots, and went, oh yeah, you know, disturbing him a lot to check out these spots, different doctors. But the doctor that was there the whole time that did not see Grayson until the end, came in at the end, and he looked at the spots and he went, and he pressed on them and he went, oh yeah, that's just viral. Yeah. So we sat there for how long? For the nice doctor to come at the end that was extremely good with children. He was incredible, and kudos to him. He was great. Don't know what doctor it was, but he was wonderful. And he just gave a diagnosis straight away. He was very kind. His bedside manner was amazing, and he was terrific. So thanks to that doctor, he was a great doctor. But the rest of them, don't know. Maybe you should go back to medical school and do some reading and learning about how to put a needle into some little baby's arm, because seriously, I probably could have done a better job. All right, that's it for today. That's today's rant. Nurses, stop wearing bloody high perfumes around patients who are in there because they're ill, or people who may have asthma or allergies. And doctors, if you're not really sure about how to put how to take blood from a baby, a baby, 8-month-old baby, don't do it, because that's a tricky, tiny little vein. Get someone who's experienced in it to do it, because asking someone how to do something while the grandparents are over there, over the top, I wasn't a happy Grammy. Right, that's it. Sorry for you seeing how I look like when I wake up, like a man. Apparently I'm like a man, but whatever. And cheers. We're having the day off because I was so tired. I woke up at 4 a.m. yesterday morning, had all that day. Then I went to the hospital with my daughter and we all slept in.
I stayed up until 10 p.m. because I didn't want to go to sleep like in the house by myself.
Yeah, she was in the house by herself till 10 o'clock at night, freaking out. I'd been gone since like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we've come back and we're fine. So now I'm going to go and do a FaceTime with my grandson and make sure he's okay, and see how my daughter actually slept. And that's it. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening to my rant. People that came on earlier and left. It'll get better, I promise. But I need to start documenting things that happen in my life, because the madness has got to stop. The lies have got to stop. And I need to educate some more people. Bye. Oh, and it shouldn't be funny. It's not a joke.